Fizzle, great to have you today.
Great to be back.
Honestly, it's an interesting one because we actually did a recording last week. What happened?
Yeah, well, we got the recordings and everything, and then all of a sudden, Roadcaster Pro just failed.
Yeah, blame the product.
Yeah, blame what's no, I'm joking. No, our recording last week was really good. Unfortunately, we've lost it, sadly. But I think we spoke about it last week. It was you're better off making these mistakes quick and fast earlier and learning than, with someone later down the track that you can't really afford to lose it. I mean, we can afford to lose it with you because you live close and you're a bit of an idiot at times, but
No, it's good that it happened now compared to like later when you have someone like super important, and then just imagine having like Andrew Tate come to the show and then you message him while he's on his flight back to Romania like, hey bro, can you come back please?
I told you, I don't fly back for anyone. I was going to say, I think we want to expand on what we talk about, right? So I think it's about learning from people. That's the biggest thing. Like learning from people in the sense that I'm a big believer of there's always something to learn from someone, regardless if they're older, younger, whatever it is. Everyone has a level of wisdom. Everyone has a level of experience that anyone can take away and really apply it in their own life in some form. I mean, that's what makes us human, right? Like that's how we interact, and that's what, it's other people's experiences that actually drive us in a way. Do you know what I mean? So I think it was taking the opportunity today to just speak to you. You've started your own business. I really believe in car detailing. You work in financial services, professional in financial services. And you've also faced a lot of adversity in your life, which encapsulates, if I was to put it in one word, it's all the experiences and wanting to learn about your experiences a bit more. I know we've had pretty deep conversations off camera but I think sharing your experiences with the audience is important.
Sure.
And I don't mean that you have to overshare all bits and pieces, but I think sharing some lessons, things that you've learned, whether it applies to someone or not, it doesn't matter. But what got you into car detailing? That's probably, but I've actually never asked you that question, so I'm actually keen to hear that.
So with car detailing, I think it stems from my love of cars in the first place, and where that came from was, I remember it was back in high school, year 8, walking from the station to high school, and as we're going, there's just this car on the side of the road, and one of my close friends at the time, he was taking a video and a photo of it, and I was just like, what are you doing? Like, what's so cool about this? And he started pointing out different things on the car. So it was like the spoiler, it was the splitter on the front, and he was explaining how each of these parts like play its own little part in the car's like overall driving experience. So the spoiler pushing down force so you can take turns better. Same thing for the splitter. It's just all aerodynamics. And then he's talking about there's so much more internally going on that I have no clue about. And that just sparked this like, not downhill, but uphill kind of obsession with cars, because I was like, wow, like such little things can be changed and it can affect the complete drive, the complete look, just everything about the car. Like you can literally buy a $500 car that's nothing, put in 5 to 10 grand worth of upgrades, and you have an amazing car now. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, what do we get? We get a car straight from the dealership, brand new, XYZ, but just looking into a car and seeing how you can build it, it's your time, it's your effort, everything you do will affect the way it drives. It's just extremely interesting to me. And then obviously there's other parts of like the Fast and Furious, Need for Speed, everything like that. You kind of grow up in the early 2000s, and now it's led me to like a huge love for cars, my own personal cars. And then it was about, you can actually do more than just the internal components. You can actually make the car look beautiful by detailing it. You can really bring out the paint. You can really just, it's like the final step. You do everything, you work on it, and then the final step is making it look perfect. So you get it painted, you detail it, you ceramic coat it. And I think that's what, led me to, just because of my love of that overall industry is what's allowed me to also start a business in it as well.
And what is car detailing? That's a pretty, because
So
I think a lot of people wouldn't know that, to be honest.
a lot of people don't like when they think car detailing, they just think like a more bougie car wash.
Overpaid car wash.
Overpaid car wash.
But no girls.
Yeah, exactly. No girls.
Hey, we don't objectify women here. What's if?
Damn. Yeah, look, it's normally with like a general car wash, you know, like we detailers laugh about it. Like you'll see like some guy with like an expensive car go to a car wash, and then you have like 4 immigrants that are working their ass off to like clean this car with like a brush. And like a brush has these minor, like it has dirt, it has contaminants, it has little sharp stuff, and they're washing the car. Like if you go to any car wash, people are using the brush, and they don't realize what you're doing is you're leaving thousands, millions even, of little swirls and scratches on the surface level of the paint. Detailing is a lot more deeper than that. You know, like you need to understand how the paint works for you to apply different pads and compounds, which are essentially chemicals that you apply and put on the paint to bring down the clear coat, which is a protective layer on the paint. And when you do that, you essentially take away a lot of the scratches, a lot of the swirls, a lot of the deeper scratches even. And that's just like the paint work. Then there's like ceramic coating it, so to protect it, make it last a lot longer. You know, with an interior, a lot of people quick vacuum and wipe down. No, we're going to go a lot deeper than that. We'll take your seats out. We'll take your interior out. Any stains that are in there, we'll extract it out. We'll just bring your car back to showroom condition. And you really need to love cars to be able to just constantly want to clean the same thing over and over again. But it's also the deeper things. There are things that like people wash their cars and they will never ever think of. Like when we detail a car, there's things like when you open the boot, the little subframe on the side, you need to clean that as well. But people don't think about it. So it's like the little things as well. It's making sure that car just comes back to just showroom condition, really. So that is what car detailing is essentially.
So it's pretty much an overpaid car wash.
Overpaid car wash, yeah, essentially.
No,
essentially.
it seems like there's a lot involved, and I think it goes back to like what you said before. It's the like you're interested in some like making little changes that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So it's like small output, or not small output, consistent small output
Yep.
that makes little changes, but at the end result is so big that you're actually proud of that.
Exactly. Like during detail, look, it's a very tedious process sometimes. Like sometimes you would be focusing on like one panel of the paintwork for hours, and you take a step back and you look at it and you're just like, wow, there's so much left to go. But after about 12 hours of just like cutting, polishing, applying sealant, you take a step back and it's just completely worth it, because you can tell that you've essentially brought back a car to life for someone else. Sometimes clients don't know what we're doing. They just kind of look at it and they're just like, oh yeah, shiny, thanks mate. Like, shiny. Just like, bro, what do you mean shiny?
Shiny. That was so good. I was going to say, like, I think knowing you're someone that's always tried to make things right and work. And that just comes from a place of just wanting to make things good.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I think there are certain aspects in life, business, whatever it is, that there are things that you won't have control over.
Correct.
And you're just, you know, it is what it is sort of thing. And you're focused on the little details so much that sometimes, do you ever have a feeling that you forget about the bigger picture of what you're trying to achieve, those little things that you're trying to make right? Has it worked? Has it backfired? In your
detailing specifically?
Yeah.
It has. You know, there's been times where you just focus so much on the little things. It has to come to a line of like business and passion. Because at the end of the day, if I just want to detail and it's just only a passion, then I should be employed by a detailer and I should just do it for just a set income. But at the end of the day, if I'm running my business, then I need to take a step back and remember, hey, there's this many hours going into it, this much of, tools and chemicals that are being used, and I need to have that kind of calculation in my head while I'm doing a client's car. Otherwise, you'll completely forget. And then all of a sudden, it's been 10 hours, 12 hours, and you have to give this car back half done to a client. So my partner in the business has always been able to reel me back in. But speaking of that, I've also had a significant person come into my life, essentially a mentor to me. And he's been a detailer for over 15 years now. And it was him that actually brought this to my attention. And he was laughing because he was just like, it was great to meet someone like me, because he says that we detail not just because of our passion and things that we grew up in, but because we have an internal conflict. So the internal conflict is that we're a perfectionist. As you were saying, like, I always look to fix things. And that's what detailing is essentially, because you have complete control of bringing like all the imperfections and issues to perfection. So because we have that level of, I guess, that drive to push on and make sure that we're bringing it back to perfection, we're always just focusing on that. And that's what he brought back to my attention, which was, wow, like that is really why we detail. We detail because there's these internal conflict that we're trying to beat. And he's even said it, like, he'll detail anything now. He'll detail his shoes, his bathroom, like walls, like anything, because you can essentially detail anything, right? You can cut and polish and make it look good.
It's funny because there's another thing we're working on, but that 360 video booth, you've been talking about detailing that ceramic coating. He's like, boys, let me ceramic coat it. He's been saying that for the past.
It's such a real thing, right? Like, that's a perfect example. Like, it's playing on my head. I'm like, bro, let me buff that thing. Like, let me make it look good. Let me protect it. Because it's like, you have the control to do it. And when he brought that to my attention, it was a huge, like, wow, that is why we do things. And when people run businesses or when they make specific actions in their life, it's mainly because they have some sort of internal conflict that they're trying to fix or take care of. Because detailing is also an outlet for me now. Things that I can't control in life, I can now control here. So
on a car,
like, you like after a bad day, it's like, bro, pull out the buffer.
So it's interesting you say that. Like, I think people use an outlet. People use it's a good thing that you've managed to find something that you can use as a way to deal with your, I wouldn't say issues is the right word, but sort of the
personality trait in a way.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, instead of going out and unleashing on something else in a negative way, you've actually found it to do it in a positive way, which is like, it's really hard to find that.
Yeah,
You know,
it is. And
I think it's like why martial artists, like UFC fighters and stuff, some of them get into UFC because it's, although you're beating the hell out of someone.
I mean, think about it. That's similar to like Kamzat Shamaev. I don't know if you guys have watched his story, but this guy, the Chechen War, he grew up during the Chechen War. So he grew up during war, and he talks about it, and he gets quite emotional about it. Like, he went through some crazy hardships. He saw people that he loved die, and just children facing things, and he had this anger that boiled inside him apparently while he was younger. And when, I don't know what it is now, but when he first started fighting, they said that he was like a monster, like a beast. And the reason for that is because every single negative feeling that he had faced or endured, he was able to use UFC as an outlet. So it was just like GG to any one of his opponents when he first started, because he could just unleash this level of energy that I would say is, what's the word? It's not human. It's supernatural. And I think this goes on a deeper point, but like, people talk about this. They're like, your mind has the power. Like, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but people have been able to do some crazy things in moments of extreme stress. Apparently people have been able to gain like superhuman strength during a situation. Like, for example, I think there was one, but like, if someone's been like something like stuck under a car, for example, and people have been able to like find the most weirdest amount of strength and just move that car at that point in time. And it was like, your brain was able to tell you to do that.
It's adrenaline.
Yeah, it's adrenaline. It's actually a thing. Like, I remember like reading about how like some women where their babies were stuck on the cars or something.
Correct. Yeah.
They would have lifted up because your body at that moment, your body's just thinking about like lifting the car.
Yeah,
So like what happens is like your body's going to activate a lot of adrenaline and you activate more muscle fibers in that state. And it's actually like, there's actually a lot of, it's very draining.
Yes.
So, but during that time, they're able to lift the car because it's just muscle fibers basically. And that's what, you know, bodybuilders or powerlifters train for, to get more muscle fiber output. So that they put themselves in that extreme stress, and obviously being in that state is very exhausting. Like if you look at Eddie Hall's video of where he tried deadlifting 500 kilos trying to break the world record. If you watch the video, the guy looks like he went Super Saiyan for a few seconds because his eyes were like going back, like rolling back, like turning blue for a second or something. And then his face will bled out because he activated, like he pushed his body to the limit, beyond the limit. But it was like a psychological thing. Imagine his kids stuck under some dinosaur or some monster or something when he was looking at the judge, and imagine the weight as like lifting the tail up, and that activated like anger and more like adrenaline to lift the weight up. So yeah, it's actually a thing.
It's interesting because you can manifest so much just through your mind.
Yeah.
But do you think it's a... So it gets interesting. Do you think... I mean, it's not even a do you think. I think it's a question for all of us, right? In order to do something great, you need a driving force. Now that driving force is going to come from experiences, trauma, negativity. But that also comes from that comes from experiences that feel like that negative experience all of a sudden becomes a driving force it becomes a part of your purpose as to why you do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you've been the victim of something horrific, you could either use it as, a limiting factor of it's happened, I'm not worth. And again, I don't mean this in a negative way towards anyone, right? Anything bad happens to people, but there are some certain aspects of life where there's a negative experiences where you usually use it as a fuel, which is where guys after a breakup sometimes just go, just switch.
Such a common thing. Like they
Just
talk.
switch.
It's like it's even a meme. Like, oh, she broke up with me. Get ready for the gym, boys. And it's just like this guy comes back 2 years later, absolutely like self-confidence, like through the roof. Just they've done everything possible to put all that energy towards something.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like one aspect of using pain as a
Catalyst for like transformation.
Yeah.